It's a little stiff. How is
Huh?
Oh, that's just that.
Yeah,
right?
that's that.
Is it like you?
This is stiff as well because I was tightening it as well.
Oh, okay.
So that's that flip.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that.
No, I just.
Here, let's take this down too. It's not pulling all the time. Just a little slack. Oh, maybe not that far. Probably not there.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and welcome to the 43rd Annual Curlers Corner Autumn Gold Curling Classic. Commentating for you today is myself, Susan O'Connor, and fellow Olympian and recently re-elected Curling Canada chair for their board, Amy Nixon. Today we have quarterfinal action coming to you from Calgary Curling Club on sheet 7, Team Fujisawa versus Team Fleury.
Before we start, we'd like to thank our generous sponsors, Curlers Corner and Bernice Merrick. She's a staple here in Calgary and has donated both her time, energy, and money to this event for many years. The Weston, Jiffy Lube, Coronado, Rock Watcher, Olson, Bonterra, and Enigma Resources. Thanks all to those folks for making sure that these players can come and compete in this event.
So based on the event that these teams qualified out of, Team Fujisawa qualified out of an A event and had yesterday off. Team Fleury had to battle their way through the C event, so Team Fujisawa was rewarded a hammer for that reason. Looks like Team Fleury is going to try and force the end here, threw up a nice tight center guard.
It's always interesting coming out of C because you end up, if you can come out of C, you end up with a little bit more experience on the ice, which sometimes helps you first thing in the morning.
Yeah, particularly if ice has been a little bit tricky, a little bit more learning happens.
So Fujisawa's team would not have been happy with that back 8-foot rock with hammer.
And Team Fleury will come down just short of the freeze there, trying to keep that from being a counter.
Team Fleury's got to be happy with qualifying here, given that they have a direct entry into the trials. It's good extra time on the ice. And in competition, heading into the last, I think it's 7 weeks or something in that range into the trials.
Yeah, just over a month now. I think it starts on the 20th.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I know, Sue, you and I played in lots of big events, but at a couple Olympic trials each, and it sure goes quickly once you're into the season, heading into that big event.
Yeah, every bit of planning and really shoring up your communication and your strategies and technical. It's a huge year for these guys, and very exciting as a spectator to be able to watch it. I'm very happy that curling is back with us this year.
So that top red rock is definitely a gooder. If you're on Fujisawa's team, you're happy with that one. Definitely can be promoted.
Yeah, those rocks at the top of the house can always be used. The ones at the back rarely help you out.
So this was an attempt to come and put another one on the top of the rings to make sure that kind of controlling that zone, and they won't be super pumped about that. However, without hammer, it's not a terrible situation for them.
Team Fujisawa trying to figure out how the best way to double peel these guards off. Looks like they're playing the thin.
I'm just in love with those pink gloves. They're real easy to see from this side of the rink. This team's been together for quite some time. I think we played them in this form in 2016 at the World Championship, and they have such a wonderful dynamic and real joy of the game that you get to see, which is quite fun as a fan.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see people that are out there and loving playing and really seem to enjoy each other as well.
That's a great shot, that double peel and kind of punch one of their own in the rings. Sorry, one of Fleury's in the rings.
Yeah, but it is opened up, and that's actually something that a rock they could use later as well for a freeze to the corner. It's a great shot. I believe Team Fujisawa is staying in Canada for the next month. They've got a couple of slams coming up, so they'll just stay here and do training. happens a lot with the international teams. This is the place to be if you want the competition.
Yeah, their coach J.D. Lind, who was a former both teammate and is a friend of mine, former coach even, just chatting with him this morning, and he was indicating that same thing. There's a lot of events in Canada in the next few weeks. Works out well for JD, who's based out of Calgary himself, and there's a number of events. The slams are very close to Calgary, so.
Team Fleury with the jam there, and they're actually pretty fortunate to have killed one of Fujisawa's rocks.
This end is simplifying quite significantly from the first couple rocks to now.
Thought Fujisawa might play the freeze here, but probably just given a little bit of a guess in the first end. They're just gonna hit, and I think just stay out there and stay nice separation on the rocks, probably sit first and third.
I see a comment here in the stream that Team Fujisawa stays in Canada for a while and then goes to the Netherlands for the Olympic final trials. Thanks for that.
Would that be to qualify Japan for a trial spot?
Yeah, I believe that's true. I don't think they qualified at the Worlds.
So much pressure on these athletes. And you can see it with the Canadian, both men's and women's teams last year, the pressure they were under to secure that Olympic spot for their country. So we had that nice hit and stick there. Tracy Fleury deciding to play down that middle. Just going to play a nice soft weight hit here and try and lay two. I watched some games here this weekend, and there are definitely some tracky spots with any additional weight.
This is one of those shots where kind of shake your head and try to reset. Selena missing that. She won't be happy with it, but hopefully she gets a chance at a double after.
Yeah, at this point you're probably happy just getting down to giving them a two this end. They've got to make all their hit and sticks in the house to start.
This one might grab across the line a bit more. It seems I play league here on Wednesday nights, and it seems like the grab spot across the center sometimes, but looks good.
Maybe not as much separation as they would have liked, but still some work to do for Tracy Fleury to get out of this end here.
Yeah, Selena will be trying to reset here. Big contribution from her as third if she can make this double and narrow it down, as Sue mentioned. Liz on the broom there, trying hard.
And get a little roll in front. I believe that leaves.
I think red, just hard to see here. We don't have an overhead.
I think they're sitting two.
Yeah, I think red is sitting two. Unfortunately, we don't have the overhead. From that angle, it looks like it.
Yeah. You're still gonna play that because that's a usable shot that if you left that there, Team Fleury could use as a little hit and roll around.
Hey Janine, the commentators are Amy Nixon and Susan O'Connor. Former has-been curlers here together.
I know Janine.
And we also got we did get confirmation that right now red is sitting 1 and 2 ahead of this hit, so they'll be sitting kind of irrelevant. They're going to sit 3 here. That's a very nice kind of a soft hit and roll. Definitely places Fujisawa in a situation where 2 is looking pretty likely at the moment.
Yeah, I think right in the middle is good.
They're just gonna. That had rolled a little more, you might have had an opportunity for a triple here, but they're going to take on this easier double. Again, giving up just 2 here is probably a win for Team Fleury. That was a very nice way to notice that a lot of the successful teams here this weekend were using just that nice board weight for the majority of their hits. It makes it less likely that you're going to be rolling out on those open hits.
It's nice to see Tracy Fleury back on the ice this year. She had a bit of time off last year to hang out with her newborn daughter. So it's good to see that. I'm assuming things have sorted out for her and she's able to get back with her team. The one sheet out here amongst the quarterfinals that has a bit more action is Jones and Carey. Oh, is she gonna? Yeah, she got that out. That wasn't, I don't think, the intent, but it worked out.
Came off. I've seen that a couple times as well this weekend. The first end out on the wings, they catch a little bit of fresh ice and some things have curled out there. You may not see that happen again in later ends. But pretty fortunate to have made the plan B double there.
I can see some smiles in the back. I think Tracy and Selena are aware of the good result. Perhaps not what you were looking for, but sometimes curling gives and sometimes it takes us away.
See that nice soft hit rate again here from Team Fujisawa. They'd like to cross this a little bit.
A little separation would be ideal.
That's
very well done.
Pretty much perfect.
I think it's just a nose hit.
Let's go to.
9 to 5. Try to just roll here for a little bite.
So they're going to try and roll as far over as they can and still be shot. Trying to get over far enough that perhaps Team Fujisawa has to throw their hit for two in a fresher spot and in a spot that's maybe have less rings to roll out on.
Rock Kristen's way.
It should be a fairly straight spot based on a couple of the
They're calling out about 10 seconds, which is kind of a soft hit weight.
Oh.
Kristen's trying to get it to go.
Just very unforgiving spots. Yeah.
That's a dangerous spot. Yeah.
Those 4-foot lines typically do, in my experience here, tend to be a little straighter. So draw anywhere in the paint for two here. Fujisawa's going to be happy with this opportunity for sure.
Really nice chance to have a less pressure draw and really get feel here. Always hated giving the other team, rolling out on the other team and letting them get their draw weight feel early in the game.
Lots of communication from this team all across the 4 players. Good to see, even on a simple draw shot.
And put it right on the button for her, so that's going to give her some good confidence heading into the rest of the game.
And Fleury's team, if I'm with them at the Hogline right now, we're taking a bit of a breath of relief because it was a bit of a scrambly end too. Isn't the end of the world.
They'll be talking about the shape of the sheet and what they're seeing in the ice and just making sure that everybody on that team is aware of exactly what they're seeing and spots to be aware of, and talking about the feel of draw weight. Every end needs to be learning and everybody on the team needs to know what's happening out there. Try and give you some updated scores out there. Looks like Team Sinclair scored 1 against Team Gim in the first ends. Team Muirhead scored 2 in the first end against Team Peterson, and the Carrie Jones game is very junky and still getting the first end. You can tell what's happening there.
Yeah, Carrie has last rock, but Jennifer Jones is just drawing here to lay possibly 2 or 3 or just kind of get in the way. So Chelsea's in a bit of looking a bit in a pickle, although looks like Jennifer's going back down the sheet to figure out what she's going to throw here. Definitely that sheet had consistently the most rocks in play during the first end, which probably wouldn't shock those who have played Jennifer Jones after she comes through a C final.
So Team Fujisawa here, happy with their 2-point lead. Aren't really looking to junk it up at this point. They threw their first one top 4. And I think you might see a couple corner guards from Team Fleury. We'll see. For sure one here.
I think the ice here, typically, at least in my experience, I'm not surprised that in the second end, Fujisawa would want to draw them into a more simple game. It's straighter, more tough to get around the corners, and even that one didn't curl probably quite as much as they would have liked.
Yeah, that's actually a rock that could come to hurt them. That's completely blocking off their in-turn draw path to the button should they need it later. So they'll look to try and find the ice that gets the corner guards a little further over and perhaps a little bit tighter to the rings as well.
Interesting, you can see Fujisawa's hand out there. It's not gonna curl very much. They're getting kind of caught on some of these straight spots. It's coming a bit now. Might just kind of chunk over in front of that rock if they're lucky. Oh, not bad.
Just slip into the ring, so maybe a little bit faster there than they were expecting.
You remember playing in the Autumn Gold and joking with Shannon Clybrink that I could write a poem as I came out. It was so keen.
Yes. Yeah. I think haven't timed today, but I think we're looking about 15.5 seconds to the tee line. A lot of the games I've watched this weekend. And it really goes from, kind of keen to super keen in some spots. So. Yeah, just sort of caught in the middle there. They thought that was going to hang, but it did grab a little bit at the line and got caught between the double and the roll behind.
Kind of looks like Kristen threw a nice, easy weight that really helped with that finish at the end. If you don't do that, it can really hang.
It definitely brings the sweepers back into play, help them manage the rock a little bit more.
So update on the Jones and Carey game. Jennifer's team managed to put another one in there, so Chelsea, I think, is trying to draw a kind of cold side of the button right now, I think against 2 or 3.
Team Fujisawa just looking to throw up a center guard here. Block off that tap or run back for Team Fleury.
Looks pretty good, actually.
It's not the easiest double peel, is it? They're looking to run it back.
Just bread and butter of a second, I guess. Liz is going to come out here and see if she can make a bit of a difference.
Just a little back motion there.
And then it just tracks. It's not forgiving. Difference between this ice and probably a lot of arena ice is once you set that back here, it's not going to come back for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, and these guys will have trained all year to have their releases be what they want for the Olympic trials, which will be on arena ice. So a little bit predictable there. Might just have to be tightening up the ice and again throwing a little less weight.
definitely trying to do what she can here to carve that rock, encourage it to curl.
Just really well managed guards here by Team Fujisawa. Hi, Chelsea. This is Susan O'Connor. I played third for Cheryl Bernard, a 2010 Olympic silver medalist, and I'm joined by Amy Nixon. She's won everything.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, 2006 Olympic bronze medalist, and Sue and I had the absolute privilege of being together on Team Canada in 2016.
So I was just riding on coattails.
You're keeping me alive. Beautiful run back there from Liz. Very timely in the situation. Unfortunately, it punched it open, and so Fujisawa's team has the chance to respond back. And Fleury's team, though, has the 2 yellow rocks in the ring. So a nice roll here would really make a difference for Team Fujisawa.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's a game changer for Team Fleury, but they did leave the double centers out there, so big opportunity for Team Fujisawa to get in behind there.
So update on Jones carry. Jones did steal 1 point there, and they went right in the rings on their first shot in the second end.
Just not quite the roll under, just got to the inside there. So if Team Fleury can get this roll under, the 3 ball is definitely in the mix. Kind of the first to make that roll is big advantage.
I'd even venture to say that if she rolls away, it wouldn't be the end of the world. She just really needs to not stick on the nose.
Yeah.
Good for all you fans in Japan watching at midnight. I would have been asleep 4 hours ago.
Under there.
It's not bad, though. It's pretty edge to edge, I think, and it'll be tough to tuck underneath. So at least she's taking away the easier roll there with that.
Yeah, definitely not going to be easy to get under, given this little bit of a straight spot here. If you're playing it that tight, you're taking your chances at chipping one of those center line guards. You can see just how much the sweeping held that line there.
Uh-oh.
Swept it most of the way for the rollout.
Yeah, she's giving her there at the back, and I think she's going to, yeah, very nice sweep out of a skip. Again, the weight is so important here because you don't want your sweepers to have to hit it early. You want that to have some time to start to take some movement, at least in my experience here at this club. Started breaking on Selena there. Oh, it's too bad. That was amazing weight. They just sort of lost it by not going to touch sooner, but
you can't blame them. You don't want to be heavy there, and you've seen it track a little bit.
And like I said, you just didn't want to hit it early because you keep it out there.
Yeah.
Change the breaking point.
Again, though, almost edge to edge, so this is not going to be easy. I think they'll probably just look at nosing and staying edge to edge there, and if Fleury doesn't get a good roll away, they'll have a double to get out of this end.
Well, and theirs hit a spot and really straight there.
The 2 is still alive here, very much so for Fleury, depending on what happens on this shot, but the yellow top 12 is nicely tucked around the guard. Whew, that was real tight. holding my breath, and I don't even really have any investment in the game.
So, a little bit of a decision to be made here. They did stay for shot. Trying to decide if they're going to go hard to roll under and potentially bring a 3 into play, or if they're happy just nosing there and hoping that Team Fujisawa doesn't get the roll under. They can get their easy deuce.
Okay, 10.
Did you hear what the call was?
No, I'm not sure what they decided on. It's a tricky gamble because if you hit and roll halfway, you really make it a lot easier for Fujisawa to get all the way underneath. And you definitely don't want to roll out because giving her the free draw behind all of that is not ideal.
This might be in a fresher spot.
Uh-oh. That's always a terrible thing to hear, hard for a piece. The good news is they are laying shot rock.
Come down.
でも当たるってとこからもうチップしか当たらなかったもんね。これでノーセットで投げる。
Fujisawa will try to come around there, and for them the good news is they don't have to be exact, they just have to be somehow buried and better than 12 foot.
Yeah, they can certainly manage this to the back of the house if need be for line. And just want to force Tracy into having to make a draw for 1. This is not the easiest spot to put down the broom. We've seen a lot track, and then we've seen one just not get by. So
yeah, if they can follow Selena's rock down, that would be great, but don't know if they throw similarly or not.
she made that nice draw last end, so she should have a really good idea of the weight to throw.
Yeah, I think it'd be consistent weight here from her outturn draw last end for 2.
Had most of our rocks this end down this path, though, so it's probably the fastest spot on the sheet right now.
They're working
she
hard.
Is getting the movement there.
Oh, very similar to what Selena's did, and she had great weight, so that's disappointing for them for sure. Super close.
I think it's gonna run really straight.
You can see Tracy taking ice pretty much right in the middle of the rock here.
ちょっとローテはかけてないかもしれない。
ウェイト15 10-5.
Tracy's saying 10-5, which is kind of a control weight in my experience anyway. That's typical hit weight for this kind of ice, especially when you're in a spot that's she thinks is going to be straight.
Clean, clean, clean. Whoa!
Feels like it's tracking back there a bit too.
Yeah, she might get lucky on the catcher over there.
No, that's good.
Nice weight control. So that's a big deuce to get back.
So scary when it goes over, you see it like move out.
Yeah, so Tracy just said it's scary to see it move out, and that's kind of what I was getting at. You can kind of see it track backwards a little bit before it starts to stabilize and come the other way.
No update on scores yet for you all out there. Maybe I'll reiterate again who our sponsors are. Again, this is the 43rd annual Curlers Corner. support of this amazing event.
And most of those sponsors, if I'm correct, Sue and I played in this event, I don't know how many times between us, have been long-standing supporters of this women's event here in Calgary.
It's an event that always draws just the best teams in the world. It's phenomenal that you know, a lot of spiels continue to struggle to fill, and this one just always attracts the best teams. So it's a testament to how well run the spiel is, and I think, of course, running on a long weekend helps that as well. A little less time off for work for these women athletes.
Long tradition in Calgary, too, of competitive women's players investing their time into the event. Certainly both Sue and I and players like Bronwyn Webster, Shannon Kleibrink, and others have donated their time to try to drum up sponsors or run the event. So I just want to acknowledge there's been a lot. Kyla McLaughlin, there's a number of former players who invested time into making sure this event continued, and I'm sure there's some right now that I'm unaware of. So.
Yeah, basically, if you were a competitive curler in Calgary at any point, you were on the committee for this event. So.
Pretty quiet end so far here, but Kristen has a chance to try to tuck one. I think she might rack on the guard, unfortunately.
Just still trying to figure out the shape of this sheet, I think.
Although splitting on is not a bad idea.
Yeah, so they're just a double away from getting a 4 still, so which is probably the goal of this end, I would suspect.
See, someone's commented here that Team Fleury seemed to struggle versus Team Enerson at the C final. I have to confess, I was eating pumpkin pie and turkey last night, so.
Did you make said dinner last night?
We made said dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a beautiful dinner. My husband is the briner, and I was the. We actually do pretty well together making dinner, and we split it up. So I had the stuffing and the homemade cranberry sauce and the whipped cream to go with the pie, etc. And Mike was in charge of the Brussels sprouts and the turkey.
And you didn't bring me leftovers today.
Well, if I had no, you can always come over later if you want. There's no pie, but there's definitely turkey.
It's a Team Fleury. I don't believe that's a biter. They would have loved to have rolled in here. So Team Fujisawa probably hit this. It keeps the 2 in play, but it also keeps the blank alive too, which either scenario is what they're looking for.
Yeah, anyone that I see, there's indicator that the teams looked tired last night in the C final, and practical reality is if anyone thinks these aren't athletes that are working hard out there, they're simply wrong. It is tough to play that many games and invest in the sweeping. Although I will recall, Sue, maybe you too, I remember playing in the Red Deer Curling Classic and playing 3 10-end games that ended up with 2 extra ends in one day. So I'm going to do I walk back and forth to school without shoes on in the snow.
Yeah, 8 ends are definitely a little easier on the body and the endurance. But the other thing to remember is, you know, as hard as these guys have worked out in the gym, the last couple of years, they just haven't had the reps on the ice. It hasn't been possible with COVID. So,
it's an excellent point.
Their bodies, it doesn't seem to matter what you do. You just cannot seem to replicate the sweeping action and the positions in the hack and on the unstable surface. It just until you just need games to get your body back in that shape, and the mental endurance as well. Tricky ice and having to concentrate every single rock. So you can cut these guys a little bit of slack for that reason. I think they're still kind of getting their competitive legs under them here.
Liz sort of barely missed that double, and I could see she was disappointed. The good news is she punched it far into the back of the house, which could set up here. We'll see where they go around this corner guard. Never breaks my heart to see one at the back of the rings, because you might have a chance at a double. We'll see what happens here. That is not curling the way that they would have wanted it to. So they are trying to take it far back to avoid that hit and roll kind of double situation, and there's a bit of an opportunity here for Fleury's team to try to group these rocks together. Oh, she's going to try the hit and roll.
I guess perhaps if she's under, she's just shot. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm a little surprised that they... If you roll right under here, Fujisawa is just going to come around and freeze you anyways, and the deuces still be a possibility.
It's obviously curling more than they expected.
Not all bad. If they can get a nose here, then the double is definitely there for the next one.
Although the thing about it is, if Fujisawa's team rolls around there, they're going to be in front of the tee line now, which isn't fantastic for Fleury's team. They could actually set up for a potential 3 if they do this well.
Yeah, Team Fleury will have to make a decision then whether they're just going to hit the open one or try and play around the corners, which is always dangerous. Ooh, this is running. I just took him under.
It's those kind of moments that take me back to being a player. Just hold my breath.
So, not ideal, but the blank is going to still be alive for Team Fujisawa here. So they'll look to blank this out and take hammer to the 4th end.
Totally, and that won't break their won't break their hearts to try to blank this end and then have hammer in 4. Just an update on some other sheets. We have a tie game, Muirhead, Peterson, so Peterson tied it with 2. We have Sinclair, who stole 1 in the second end against Gim, so they're up 2-0. And we have Chelsea Carey's team did score 1 in the second end, so it's tied 1-1, Jones with hammer in the 3rd.
Very important that Team Fujisawa sticks in the rings here. It is coming off that ledge a little bit, but I think they've held it.
Yeah.
Throw a 10. Come up a little bit.
So they're just going to try to nose this and force play to continue, and it's a blank end at the moment, unless something wild happens.
10 on the nose.
Yeah, which is just going to nose to try and make the rollout be as much rings as possible. If they did feel like there was a spot that was harder to read for the hit, they might try and roll there, but it sounds like they're just playing the hit and stick.
Just looking at the birth dates of Fujisawa's team, and I'm thinking about, Sue, you and I were in high school.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're the old biddies.
I like to think we're well aged. Like wine.
Yeah.
We're wise.
Yeah. Oh, there's still at least one player out there on the sheet of ice today that's older than me, so.
I would think this will be a pretty straight spot, so kind of an ideal spot to throw a blank. Just want to make sure you get a good chunk. Contact is always good first.
If she rolls in at
It's
all,
just a hit and roll out. As my husband used to say in mixed, Amy, it's not a peel, it's just a hit and roll out.
Oh, is this her first?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We're dumb.
We're not dumb. We're just distracted.
So they're just going to look to stay kind of in the open, not allow Tracy to roll under that corner guard at all. So job well done.
across the face, I think. 9.
She thinks that she can throw a little bit more weight in, try and spring over there. I'm not sure if there's enough rings for that, but we'll see. Even if you could get sort of edge to edge, it's something visual in her line.
Might even be worth just giving it a go, because if you roll out, it's not the end of the world here, and you kind of get a sense of, in case you have to throw something a bit more under duress, how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Usually nothing with kind of higher than 9 weight will move here, but they are right at that line, and sometimes that line will grab it, so we'll see what it does.
I think the call out of her hand was 9, which is a pretty solid normal hit weight. It is starting to pull across there very hard. And you know, that kind of turns out how I expected, that maybe you could just kind of get a sense of throwing more up weight and whether or not you can get the hit and roll in case she needs it later in the game.
So Fujisawa's team probably would have talked about a spot that they'd like to learn. A spot that they've questioned, or a spot they just haven't played before that they'd like to learn.
Just a throw through here, so try to learn every time from something. I like that she looks like she's not throwing big weight. It always cracks me up that on throw-throughs, sweepers tend to be more diligent on cleaning than on some other shots. But I was guilty of that myself.
Just looking across the sheets here, we definitely have a nice international mix here. A couple American teams and Korean team and Japanese team, along with 4 Canadian teams.
Scotland.
Oh.
Muirhead.
I lied to you. 3 Canadian teams.
And Eve.
And I believe that Team Great Britain will name their Olympic team after this event. There were 2 Scottish teams here, and with Eve coming out of the A event, I think she was probably the front runner anyways, that this will probably solidify their spot. We'll look to hear that announcement. Team Fleury, I'll be throwing up the center guard, I imagine, here. I didn't see the call, but
Yep, 2.5. Basically halfway. Looks a little toasty. Yeah, 15-9. There you go.
We'll see just how hard Team Fujisawa wants to go for their deuce. Calling the come around.
Yeah.
Another good option here would have been to play the tick. You could probably play the tick over and roll shooter in with it being that tight.
They could theoretically also throw a corner guard, but on this ice, I don't think that's a good call.
Yeah, it's just not easy ice to chase around the center guards with. So sometimes getting there first is the right call.
I think this is going to be a little on the deep side, and they're not going to be super pumped about it.
And it also comes out the other side.
Tracy's team could follow them down. I'm actually a little surprised they're going the other way, but if you know it, then you choose what you know.
And they are calling for it to be above the tee line. I'm personally a little bit of a fan of freezing right down and just making sure that that rock doesn't come back into play for you. But again, not the easiest chasing ice, so maybe that's what they're thinking. If they can make a good one here, it's not easy to chase. Just getting caught. It seems like if you've got sweepers.
There we go, though. They're around this time.
Got it. you have that really nice sweeping weight, it does get the finish at the end. If you have to throw anything more than dead draw, though, we're seeing things run pretty straight. So still cannot peel that center guard. I'll look to just set up an angle here.
Really trying to get this one to keep coming. They knew early.
I didn't even remember that. that you
played
and
each
I
other?
played each other in the final in 2008. Wow.
You lost that one. I would prefer
I
to win a
have-
couple other ones.
同じように見えたけどね
I have played in this event for, I don't know, it had to have been 30 years, and I never won it.
I think that's
It's
the only
the
time I
one
won.
thing I've never won. The one event that I worked so hard at all the time and just couldn't figure out how to win.
In 2007, 2008, I think we were the top money-making team in Canada or something, and I made enough money. I bought my husband a really nice pool table, and I think I bought a barbecue too. Not sure if that was exactly what they were after, but it's not bad.
So some work to do to get this open up for Team Fujisawa. But if they can't make the double peel here, there's definitely a chance that that back red comes into play, which is sort of why I like playing the freeze.
Yeah, that's still up vulnerability for sure.
Excellent
That's
shot. Yeah.
Beauty.
So Fujisawa has second shot and a couple corners to work with now.
相手の方がちょっと甘めで投げてるかもなちょっと外通ってたかも
ね
うん
そうだね
うん1個半個1個外通って重かったかも
I guess a guard has been called here for Liz.
で相手の1個前の
I
ガード
think
が
given the
ノー
ice
セットで投げて
conditions,
て
that's a smart call.
滑ってるって言ってたね
Tracy's just motioning halfway.
Line's good, right to my room, line's great, right here. Yep, bit further. Yep.
They just need that to come a little further across the center line, and it looks like it is coming for them nicely, which is great.
Maybe a possibility of peeling off this guard and getting your red one to get lucky coming back into the rings. That would put a lot of pressure on Team Fleury.
Yeah, Fleur's team really had hoped to bring that yellow rock another rock and a half or so deep.
This one? Yeah. When it decides to furrow, it's like, whew, gone.
Hi, Wade Johnston. Haven't seen you for a long time.
I think that the equipment some of the equipment we're using is actually borrowed from Wade.
Nice. That's a real nice double and roll across. Just again, just pointing out Susan's point very early in this end. That back rock is still hanging in there for Team Fujisawa.
Everybody calls that the Donnie B 3. Don Bartlett was famous for throwing them back 8, back 12, and they'd always come into play.
The Donnie B3, I've never heard that before.
Okay, lots of line. Wait if you can, wait if you can.
So big pressures on these center guards now. They should know the spot well.
Feels like it's a little toasty and tight, tight, tight to the rings, which won't be ideal.
You're good. Nice shot. 16.
It's not bad.
Line is perfect. It just makes the run back a little bit easier here. I see here that we can thank Michael Libis, and is that Mount Royal University?
Oh, it is.
For the
Look at that.
equipment. Well, thank you guys. Amy, what is your position at Mount Royal University now? She's way up there.
Yeah,
She's a boss.
yeah, right. I have the privilege of being general counsel and university secretary at MRU, and I didn't realize the equipment was from the institution. It's a rather large undergraduate university here in Calgary, and a place that's been very good to me. And I have a great team that I get to work with at Mount Royal University.
So big double bonk there from Team Fujisawa really gives the advantage to Team Fleury here.
This is not what they were looking for. They wanted to try to come around and make it a little tougher. However, the end result, kind of overlapping on that guard, isn't the end as well for Selena. They're covered and they're overlapped. I agree with this thought process, which is,
Yeah, how long do you just try and go? It's just, this is a very important end to score in.
I agree with you.
But I don't know, the double peel now just allows them to put up another center. Maybe on being thirds rocks, you still,
I feel like one more.
yeah, you still clear the front and come around skips first, trying to get that skips deuce.
Well, and even if you can clear, this back yellow one is kind of wide open. So even if they guard one, they can't guard both. So
Oh, but they are coming around.
they're doing it.
Very important that this is made.
Or at the very least freezes to the back one, which to me looks like where we're at is a bit of weight that is going to chunk to the back one here.
This is coming very nicely. So now they just want to make sure that they try and don't want it right behind button.
That's one of those ones where it's so close to being good, and then you just sort of cringe waiting for the shot to come down, because if Fleury doesn't make it, you're in good shape. If she makes it, you're cursing the extra few swipes of the brooms.
That was excellent weight for that side. They haven't, I think they've only played one other come around draw on that side, so don't know it quite as well as the other side, but it looks like it has fantastic finish. This is probably the turn that they should be playing for their come around.
I heard Tracy say 13-8, which is quite a bit heavier than the other side close to the middle.
Yeah.
So that might have helped it grab and kind of go around. The thing that's tricky here is that if you throw 2 or 3 in the same spot, trying to figure out how keen it has become. So Tracy's, I'm going to guess, is more like 14.5 is what she needs to throw.
And the Fujisawa rock was basically no sweeping, so taking into account what your sweepers can do as well.
They need to hold off here.
I'm trying to get
No,
up
it's
the curl
going.
up for line here.
It's a pretty good shot. It takes away the double concept, and it's in the way. So she basically just has to guard this. So if you're not going to make it, that's the second option for sure.
Definitely chipping off there would not have been good. So that's definitely the right error.
Although if you're Tracy, you would prefer for it to be kind of full 4 foot in front of it.
Yeah.
Guard the outturn draw and leave them the side.
Oof, Jennifer just threw a port there nicely and to the back of the rings. That's interesting.
You can kind of see it just on the other side of the screen there.
Yeah. Now, if they get this tight enough, they can be potentially using it later, although there isn't a lot going on there good for Fujisawa's team. I'm not sure that's... Can't tell the angle there, so can they get around? No, it's not bad.
So Fleury's got a bit of a decision to make. Yeah, they can either try and come to button for the steal, but I think a good option is to just plug that hole and say, you can have your 1 point and we'll take hammer next end.
If they plug the hole, there's a chance you can go wide in turn and come to the edge of the 4-foot, but it'd be super tough because it would be a brand new spot.
Be forced out quite a bit wider, but yeah, that will be what they try for sure. Give it a go.
Take 2.5 guard. Kind of in the middle of, yeah.
It's kind of an end where either team is fairly happy. This would have been the plan to start the end for Team Fleury, and Team Fujisawa, based on how the end set up, is probably happy to have the score. This will be a spot that they haven't probably thrown in. Most likely played the out-turn on that side of the sheet.
I just want to see it go all the way across the center line plus, which looks to me like they're going to get.
That's the job.
And just as we predicted, wide in turn, trying to get to the very edge of the 4-foot here. The tricky thing about it is when you go out to the edge of the 8-foot here like that, and you might have to throw a bit of extra weight because it's tracky. From a weight perspective, it might actually stay pretty straight. They're right out here in the 12-foot, so hard to predict the two.
Sometimes there's a bit of a ledge and it may run it or it may come off of it. So they'll give it a good go here, and if nothing else, there'll be some learning.
Similarly, Jennifer's been forced way out in the 12-foot for a draw for 1, which is looking decent based on body language. So let's see where Fujisawa goes here.
Weight looks close. It's just a matter if line gets there. It is coming off now.
Yeah, it's really grabbing, but I still think it's tracking through. What a great try, though. She had the right idea there, but. So this Jones carry game is taking its time. They are just finished the 3rd end, and most of the other sheets here are on their last couple of rocks of the 4th end.
Looks like Team Muir had scored their 1 point in the 3rd end, so their lead 3-2. Team Sinclair, Team Gim scored their 1 and 3, so that they're down 2-1 without. And again on our sheet, Team Fujisawa scored their 1 point in the 4th end. Take a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, very tight scores so far. I believe Jones got 1, and so they're up 2-1 on carry as well.
Nice. Not sure if they're having a discussion of what they want to play or just the spot on the ice. You would think it would be discussed between ends with where you're throwing the first one.
I think I'm already looking around thinking about, we're only, whatever it is, 7 weeks away from the final of the Olympic trials, and the Canadian teams are going to be thinking about the next quad right away and what that means for teams. So we're going to see some of that start to unfold in early 2022, if not sooner.
It's always fun to start hearing the rumors and then the actual announcements.
Yeah.
It is a big commitment now for these teams, and as women, there's a lot to factor in, careers and families, and there is for men too, but for us it was big decisions to be made.
Yeah, I don't think for either one of us it was particularly difficult to make the determination that we needed to invest more in our kid. But everyone has their own journey, for sure. Sue and I actually have kids that are, what, a month
Almost
apart?
identical. Almost identical, yeah. Only because mine came a month early. Yeah. Certainly, I think I can speak for Amy as well. We miss the competing. We're competitive people. We love our sport. But we don't necessarily miss all the juggling and the guilt and trying to figure life out to play. But
I just don't miss the practice rocks. I don't miss anything about going to the rink every single day and dragging my butt there. And yeah, I mean, it was the game. I think Sue and I would be very similar. The game has been very good to us. We've been very grateful for the opportunities and have some really great memories and colleagues and former teammates in the game. But at the end of the day, there is more to life than curling.
this is quite a big error from Team Fujisawa.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a bit of a tendency here, and they got caught on that one going through. It's in some ways it's better for them that it went through than it bites back 8 or 12. But
Are you a little surprised by this call? I thought she might just go wing here.
no, I think it makes sense to me. They would do this if they group them and there's a nice big run back. They're not too worried, I don't think, about blanking this end. If you think about it that way.
I think it's worth trying to set up for the 3.
The other piece for me is I think you want to kind of guard against the hit and roll to the middle on this ice. So.
And maybe with that yellow being a little high, they see it as a
opportunity.
Yeah.
That's a really nice, a little tiny bit deep, but a really nice shot out of Kristen there and well judged. And here's exactly what I said. And so if they make it, I guess Fleury's team is happy to kind of get through a potential blank end and go into the next end with hammer. A little petite rocket out of the hack there.
They are a little bit mighty for sure.
And that's okay, but it doesn't hurt Fleury's feelings. In fact, the fact that they got the top one isn't bad. All that Tracy's team needs to do here is Christmas tree it, in the words of the infamous Colleen Jones.
Yeah, they'd like to block off any kind of freeze opportunity. That's rock sitting right on the tee line. If Fujisawa gets a chance to freeze down there later, it would take a end away. Should get a little finish here. They can manage it right in there.
It's a really nice Christmas tree.
Yeah, I don't know that you could have hand placed it better than that.
Might just have needed to curl a touch, but I think they're playing the run back, so. Well managed on the sweep too. They waited, they made sure that it started to break, and then they went for it at the end. Here's that run back.
Very close, I think.
That's a really nice shot. And great sweep by the skip.
I just love watching this team.
Yep.
Yeah, that is an end changer right there.
And just open side means they're kind of capitulating to keeping things open here, and somebody's got the blanket tent basically. So that can go away quick with a nice hit and roll exactly behind the guard, but again, those are pretty exact. So. This one does not look like it's going to roll away.
accidental perfect roll underneath.
Okay. Years and years ago, playing with Shannon Clyburng's team, we used to say that'll do, and as in that'll do donkey from Shrek.
They definitely know this spot. They're down there a few times, so I think they have a good chance at making contact here. Just missed the sweep on that a little bit.
And that was the
So we'll see if Tracy walks up and, yeah, as suspected, will happily take her blank here.
She's carefully looking back at that yellow rock to make sure that they don't jam and roll in.
I'll follow it over. Perfect.
And back in the middle.
Probably see them put up a couple more centers. Maybe not with the next. Just hoping to get maybe them to leave not fully peel out and leave some sort of guard to come around and cause the force.
Looks like it's dangerously high the way they're going at it, but I think it's over easy. There we go. This seemed like a lot of panic for a nice rock, but
He smartly put that in just a little bit different spot, a spot that Tracy hasn't necessarily seen a bunch of peels down yet. Just move it around a little bit.
Routine peel.
Don't think she'll be brave enough to call another. Okay, trying to use that just outside the rings there. Hope for a mistake that might lead to a force. This won't have been a path that's played very often ever. These are always a little bit of a guess as to what kind of weight you're going to hit out there, but I think it's staying in the good stuff now.
Might be a little warmer than they thought. It's hard to get right out to the corner. I know, I agree with you, Susan. I know where you're going. And this is unfortunate, actually. It gives Tracy a chance to follow it down and might be in, hey?
You see an overhead over there? No.
They're not interested in forcing the issue. It looks to me like they're going to hit, but we'll see.
You certainly don't want to leave it sitting there. Well, I guess you would be in. You don't want to roll to just out and back there and give them more of a pocket.
Yeah, definitely be looking for a hit and roll a little to the middle and biting. Or just peel it, one or the other.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she wanted.
うんついていくわ
Let's play this out for the blank. Fujisawa's going to want to potentially roll a little tighter to the center line. But at the end of the day, contact and force Tracy to throw her hit is the mission. That's exactly what they wanted, hit and stick, and now Tracy Fleury will go down and go for the blank, take hammer into, can't even count, 6.
ねそうなんかちなとさ重いとこでも4秒ドローぐらいかなってね
なんかさ夜みたいに何と使ってもまあ重いって感じでは
ないよね
しょっちゃんのさガードしたとこあったじゃん
If they keep having a tight game, Carrie and Jones are going to keep us here for an extra 30 minutes. They're a full end behind.
ってとこは4秒で投げればいい感じかねね大丈夫ね
Looks good, looks routine, nobody's panicking, hit and roll out, blank end. So we go to 6 with Fujisawa up 3-2 on Fleury. Fleury has hammer.
I would like to mention just how fantastic this production is. This has got to be one of the better live streams for a curling event. Great camera work and really well produced. I'm interested to see how Fujisawa calls this in, if they're to the point where they would consider some double centers or not.
Definitely a motion for the guard there. Oops. The other thing I always found here, because it's keen, is if you have a lot of handle, it seems to carry a little bit further as well.
Definitely something to consider when you're judging. Straight come around, is that the call?
I think so.
Surprised they're sticking with this tougher side. I just feel they know the weight a little bit better.
Or there's a preference for an out turn, I don't know.
Could be. Sometimes you see that with teams and leads. They definitely have a turn they prefer to play.
This is well judged. They knew what the weight was, and they didn't try to bury it, and knowing that sweeping it would take it behind the tee line. And Chelsea, Carrie, and Jennifer Jones have finally finished their 4th end, which resulted in a 1 for Chelsea Carrie, and they're tied 2-2.
Fujisawa just looking to come down and sit on the corner of this. Important not to bounce off here.
Yeah, even being kind of a biter on top 12 wouldn't be the end of the world here. You really don't want to bounce off or be around it.
Based on how it's running, I'm going to say it's a little bit heavy here.
Yeah, it's really not good. It just punched the yellow rock right behind the guard and gives Tracy that exact thing she just motioned, which is to hit and roll and for her team to be laying 2. That is, I see somebody mention that Fujisawa seemed to pick a fast line. That is a very slick spot. We've seen a lot of draws go down that spot. And so, yep, it would be one of the areas of the sheet that would be the fastest. They would know that, though. Oof, that is not ideal. Really gives an opportunity to...
Yeah, really flat double. It might be hard to kill it, but just hitting and rolling over there.
And just even punching that yellow slightly in the open would be a win.
And kind of stay a little bit under.
Would have been further ahead to hit and roll out there, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Early call on this. Definitely getting a roll of some description.
And just like we said, and that's not going to be the easiest spot for Tracy to chase. It's just...
You can still hit and roll and kind of split the rings. I guess the challenge is now that that rock's been punched, the Fleury rock has been punched and can be used for Fujisawa now.
But if the roll's made here, it gives even more separation. That is the bonus.
And it does keep alive for Fleury the chance for a 2 here. So. It's tracking.
Yeah, this is just a very tough spot to throw weight.
Weight and handle just doesn't pay off in that spot. And you can see in Liz's body language, she knows it. Well, hello there, Leslie McEwen. Right, so Fujisawa's team, if they can make a nice hit and roll, even if it's edge to edge here, they really take momentum away from Fleury's team after that hit and roll out.
I've seen some draws on this side, but not as many hits. Let's see if it gets a little finish or not.
Oops. Went from make it curl to don't, and that is a very, very nice shot. Well called.
Tracy's gonna walk up there, peel this off, or take a run at the run back maybe. Plan B would be peel off. This is an end you definitely need to let yourself score in. A steal here is not good.
So close, but not great.
So
Leaves the center guard.
leaves Fujisawa guard and shot rock in the house. It looks like they're just happy and they're not going to try and play around. They're just going to go and throw up the guard.
I am sort of loving on the Galaxy jackets too. They're fun difference.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta let this curl because It takes a while to get to the line.
Need to have legs to get over there.
I think that's good enough to be edge to edge, but it's possible. We're not right behind the sheet, so it's hard for us to tell.
I suspect it's not an easy spot to get under, even if it's fully open. They're saying roll away.
I think so. Given the weight she's throwing, I'm going to say yes.
Any bit of sweep at all there. You almost have to wait till you think you're on the guard to call the sweep. So advantage back to Team Fujisawa. Good chance to bury one here.
And that reaction out of Tracy is, I think, a little bit of a mix of, gosh darn it, how many times do we have to see it? And then also a bit of a, wow, that's straight there. Easy to say when you're sitting in the cheap seats here, not trying to throw them.
I have a comment here saying that Team Fujisawa chose those jackets after meeting a Japanese astronaut. How cool is that?
Must have been a pretty meaningful meeting.
Yeah. Oh no. We've played down that path so many times now. It looks like maybe it's getting a little bit soft there. Just grab something.
Real good opportunity for Fleury's team here to get one around. So Selena will be sitting there thinking through grabbing onto this one as a third. Sinclair's kind of running away on Gim there. They're up 5-1 now in the sixth end.
Big steal of two there.
Peterson came back with 2 in the fourth end, so they're managing the hammer against Muirhead. Muirhead down 1 with hammer.
Working on the inside corner here, trying to get some finish.
Though I'll take back my comment on Muirhead. It looks like maybe the third hasn't done their job and put up a score yet, so they're headed into sixth, and we're not exactly sure what the score is.
So enough under that Team Fujisawa is trying to decide. They're going to ignore it and play the middle. They can bump a middle. They can try and come around, out-turn wide side.
It's a really nice draw by Selena and team. It gives them a chance to sort of gently tap it up at a later time in the end if necessary. It's pretty much a perfect spot.
Looking up the run through maybe.
Chinami, who plays third on this team, was one of my favorite competitors. I enjoyed playing third against her immensely, just because she's such a good character, but also really fine player. So Fujisawa trying the run back. Or, hold on. There's a motion for, are we playing? Which one are we playing? I'm going to assume it's a run back, but it wouldn't shock me if it comes down here as a peel. I see the comment that it says Muirhead 5, Peterson 4. The scoreboard still doesn't reflect that, but I bet you're right.
They are tapping the middle.
Wow.
You need to learn some Japanese here.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're way off. It's a pretty gutsy call, actually.
Maybe stayed for shot again. think it might be
4
yellow.
秒39秒4秒か
Very close try.
Hard to see with that cowboy hat in the way.
ああ13半か
It's one of those where, had you known it was going to go that deep, you could cross it a little bit. It would have taken a little more weight off.
Yeah.
Have a better chance of staying for shot. I'm not sure it really matters on the shot selection.
Yeah, I think there's no question of a draw. I think they're just chatting about how much ice and weight a little bit. Call for top 4.
早かった分曲がんなかったもん
そうね。やっぱさ、思ったよりさ、もうちょっとオーバーしてんだね。今ノーズ当たったと思ったらやっぱこっちの勢いだったから
ね、ちょっと外だったまだ
Really, really good opportunity for Tracy. She hasn't had a lot of these sort of open opportunities to put pressure on.
普通にしなかったらスルーぐらいだったスルーぐらいか
Forced out quite a bit wider than any path they've played yet. Again, a little bit of a guess whether it will come off the ridge here or run, and just how much more weight you need to throw from that fast spot. There'll be lots of communicating back and forth where the line is, and
It's breaking. I gotta go on that.
これか
Really nice line, and it's in the way, so
yeah.
ちょっとウェイト落とすわ
they're going straight back to this tap.
You can see how powerful it is to have those rocks above the tee, though. Otherwise, Fujisawa could kind of suck around a draw. Those yellow rocks are in her way. So, although she did just play the shot, she should have a really good idea of line and weight. It's always a lot more difficult of a shot to make a perfect tap back than it is a come around draw.
She's got a couple helpers in there too. She can always sort of rub off of or come back to her own.
Yeah.
So
A really important shot for communication. The sweeper's letting them know just if there's any extra weight at all. Allows the third to make that plan B call.
there it started to curl. I think they're real close. Oof. That is a beauty shot right there. That's a huge shot, really. They may have ticked the yellow one out for.
Yeah, I didn't think about
やっぱ
that.
ねいつも2フットぐらい入ったらさ曲がるから
Perhaps eyeing up that run double for 3,
ね
or they could play either one of these taps for their 1.
飲んでる
None of them are what I would consider a give me.
No, and there's significant risk.
ねもう来ない
Yeah, if you play the run back and you somehow double your yellow out without touching any red.
外でね投げて
And if red is not lying to,
うちのノーズぐらいになってイエスってすると3分の2ぐらいまで落ちちゃう
I don't know. I think that outturn yellow tap is sort of where it's at. But
ね
I suppose you
こ
can
っちはもうねできないな
run back the yellow, and
こっちで
it just makes such a difference if red's lying to or not.
It does, yeah.
I'm assuming they are based on this call.
来ちゃうと3点があるのこれ
Really, giving up 2 here, Fleury giving up 2 is almost, it's verging on game. So
Yeah, stealing one is not the end of the world.
遅いね試合
こ
Just adjusting the broom a little bit there. I always cringe a little bit at that. Things just look a little bit different from the hack, but you've seen every shot come down from the skip's end.
It's close based on the call. Nice shot. I guess we'll find out.
Probably be a measure
Yellow
here.
or red.
I think Selena might think it's yellow.
That's going to be a measure. Any of you very young curlers out there who don't have the experience, just never feel bad to ask for a measure. And always watch for some sneaky person to lean on the stick.
It is true with all the logos, sometimes it can be deceptive to the eye as well.
Big steal one for Chelsea Carey in the fifth end, so they're up 3-2. Jennifer with hammer in 6.
Yeah, oh no, they still have not put up the score in the Peterson Muirhead.
間とハンマーか。そうだね。2点取ってもいいし。ハンマーか。ハンマー点取ってもいいし。
Yeah.
So definitely Fleury's team scored because they're first up, as Susan predicted. So
The Weston's always been really good, given our curlers really good rates. I've often thought, even though I live in Calgary, it would have been worth it to just go ahead and book one of the rooms for the price that they gave us.
they were playing in the trials in 2009 that Susan went on to win. Weston was sort of a team sponsor for the event, and we ended up with Weston robes with my initials on them. I still love my Weston robe. Susan got a bigger prize than I did, but I still enjoy my Weston robe.
The night of our trials final was like Edmonton was the coldest place in the world. I think they clocked minus 52 at the airport there that night. It's freezing.
Anyone who says that Edmonton's better than Calgary is just wrong. I include my parents in that, who live in St. Albert and cheer for the Stinky Oilers, as my daughter calls them. That was a really nice draw here.
This is pretty much the perfect spot. If Fleury freezes, it still allows you a fair chunk of the house for a second point.
Fleury's team is going to want to put one in front. Doesn't have to be perfectly frozen, but definitely in front. Don't want to do a little rub off and leave it open. Exactly, not like that. Those ones always just burn you as a lead.
Stephanie A is not happy. Not your best friend anymore.
Yeah. I've insulted an Edmontonian. It's all in good fun, my friend. Edmontonians tend to give Calgary a hard time as well.
Definitely wanting to roll away, but you do want to stay in the rings here.
I like that.
Oh, I've seen that so many times this weekend. It just no finish like they're used to seeing here. It might have been a little firm, and I don't know if that was communicated possibly to the third either. Seems like that was a little more than the control weight they've been throwing.
Sometimes when you're in the position you're in where you just really don't want to stick,
Yeah.
you tend to maybe even overthink it a bit and make sure you throw that extra weight.
And also call it that
Yeah.
way, right? You don't want to be the third that allows the...
The ultra conservative. Oh, they're trying so hard to let this curl. It could have been worse. At least it didn't rub off.
Yeah, it's definitely not all bad. It's definitely something you can't leave it there. The other thing they could consider is walking up and peeling the guard. Probably a decent chance at getting a blank out of this end if you do that.
Which is fantastic. You can see them thinking about it. The Sinclair game, Sinclair's up 5-1 without hammer in the sixth end on Gim. And I'm saying that because somebody specifically asked us to give it to them. And Sinclair looks to be in decent shape there. They're going to give up a maximum of 2. Last shot from Gim coming in 6.
Fujisawa has decided on that peel. I think I like this call.
I do too. I think it's the smart thing to do.
Perfect. Independent.
If Heather Nedwin had thrown that, she would have been 4 sheets over already looking at it from the other side. And I say that with affection.
Tracy has to just replace this guard for a while, and then it's kind of that cat and mouse. who's gonna make a choice first? If this doesn't get to center, you might bait them into to get there. Nice. It's quite a bit higher though.
Yeah, it's tempting, isn't it? Yeah, and throw that kind of hack weight or...
But really the situation hasn't changed, and to go up and make the peel wouldn't have been a bad call either.
So Gim's Rock is coming down here. A last shot in the sixth end against Sinclair. Playing kind of a nice soft tap for 2. She is not successful at that. Either she got one or she gave up one. So the score will not change significantly on that sheet. Ooh, that is a nice. This is beautiful line here.
Does she have the weight to kill it?
I don't know about that call.
Her shooter does stay in a really usable spot. That's the bonus. Yeah.
Just opens the door up a little bit, but I agree with you. It's a great line. Looks like Sinclair and Gim are going to do a little measuring game over here. And Peterson is drawing on her last, and 6 might have made it, I think, for 2 against Muirhead. Hard to see from this angle. Definitely the 1, possibly the 2, which would put her up 2 or 3.
Kristen's working hard on the inside of this, trying to
I'm
get
not
tucked under.
I was going to say not 2 or 3 because they haven't put up the score yet from the 5th end. It's difficult to... There's a heck of a run back here for Caitlin to shift things in the 6th end. She's got a bit of a perplexed look on her face. Okay, back to this game. Really good opportunity here with soft weight. Really not curling as much as they want at the moment.
That's the straight side of the sheet again. Oh, it's a pretty big rollout. Oh, I think it did just roll out.
Tracy's likely going to want to be as close to a nose here as she can get without jamming on the back one. Oh, there we go. They caught up on Peterson Muirhead sheets, so Peterson scored 2 in 6, puts her up 1 on Muirhead in 7. Muirhead with hammer. That's a pretty good shot there.
Fujisawa can make the double here, then the blank is back into play, so pretty big shot here. You absolutely must stick in the rings, though, because you do not want to give them a free pass at that come around.
B option is a nice hit and roll behind that guard, or even half behind the guard.
Yeah.
If it just over curls, it's not bad. I should knock on wood because it looks like it's maybe going to really over curl. As Sue said, the rolling out is really the unfortunate. Yeah, that's going to be one they're not happy with. Gives Fleury a great chance to go Christmas treeing around this guard.
Yeah. Now the force is definitely in play with even a possibility of a steal. And that takes you back to the age-old question. What would you rather be? Yep. 1 up without or 1 down with? I believe the stats still show that 1 up without.
Yeah, you want to be up coming home, I believe. It's basically how it goes. Yeah, they were playing, you're right, somebody had mentioned 2 good teams. They have made a ton of shots. We haven't seen any, I don't think, any straight misses other than 1 draw through the rings. But other than that, we've had at worst half shots happening here, and they are both teams well known for kind of a nice cadence of calmness. From a team dynamic perspective.
Mm-hmm. Team dynamics is such a huge, really comes into play in these big Olympic qualifying years. The stress that these athletes are under, and when you've put your life on hold for 4 years to chase a dream, and it's all down to this.
They were really working hard on that to get it in. It was a very nice sweep. It's not a terrible shot. At least it gives Tracy a chance to use it, but it does open up the door.
Yeah, Fujisawa are kind of forced to go for their 2 now. Blank is not really in play at this point. So they'll look to get this tucked under, stay above T-line.
Peterson's up 1 on Muirhead. Muirhead has hammer in 7.
Problem for Fujisawa is even if they make this really good, Tracy Fleury's that one top 12 can be used to run back and stay under the guards, and then a steal could be back in play here.
Yeah, they're playing a draw here for sure, going around the guard and trying to make sure their shot rock probably no more than biting 4 foot. Sinclair had a big steal in 6 against Gim, so now they're up 6-1 in the 7th end without Hammer. That's I'm actually surprised Gim is still giving it a go. Feels like this is tight to the guard, but we're sitting on the wrong angle. There we go, it's all right. She does not want to be back 4 foot here and let Tracy come on top of her.
Actually, overberries there. So that's pretty good because the angle on the run back has the chance for jamming here.
And it didn't come too deep. I mean, if Tracy comes on top of that, you still have pretty much all the 4 foot open and available to draw for 2. It's not an easy situation for her. I think she does have to think about that angle kind of tap run. Can't overstate how good of a shot that was, actually.
Yeah. It ended up in a really great spot.
And then the bonus is if Tracy happens to pick it off and she has the same draw, she has the weight down pat, so.
I think this is very tough to not kill.
The back yellow.
Yeah. The only thing might be that the one you're running back might stay under the
if you can get it on
the guard anyways.
Yeah, get it on the high side, you might be able to stuff it, but hard to call that way.
She's feeling like if playing the freeze is just Fujisawa's got such a good chance of making that draw for 2. I think it's worth taking this on.
Yeah, somebody has mentioned the blank's okay, but I think the blank's highly unlikely with the number of rocks in play and what we've got left. This is running, I think, unfortunately.
You do want it thin, but it's too thin.
Quite.
So
draw for 2, same exact shot that she just threw.
Can't ask for much more than that as a skip.
Or a sweeper.
Yeah.
And then these are the, soon I can say, these are the golden shots as a third because you just hang out. You don't do anything really. Very little to communicate.
It's relatively easy as we're saying this is a very, very important point. These are the points you need to hang on the board.
Especially at this point in the game, it's huge to be up 2.
I'm jumping on it early, but it looks okay to me. I don't want to kill a line here.
Looks pretty good to me.
One's going real hard and one's just hanging out. It's got to be close.
Nice match or rock right up there. So Fleury's team, from a stats perspective, has an uphill battle. They're going to be thinking they need to try to get 2 with their hammer here in 8 and then take it to an extra end. If they get lucky, maybe 3, but hasn't been that kind of game. So Fujisawa's team is likely having the conversation that they're in nice shape. Worst case, they probably go to an extra end.
Yeah, we'll see some double guards, I'm sure, here for the first time in this game.
Jones with a shot to get 1 and tie Chelsea Carey going into 7. However, Chelsea does have 3 counters right now in the ring, so Jennifer has to hit and stick. She can't hit and roll too far. I just appreciate these thirds who put those scores up. Yoshida just gave us the confirmation that they're up 2, going into 8 without. I was notoriously a slacker for putting the score up, actually. Jennifer makes a nice nose hit for the 1, so they're going into the 7th end. Chelsea carry with hammer. They are a full end behind. Fleury and Fujisawa teams keeping nice pace of play. They're ahead of all the teams actually right now, all quarterfinal. And that's a great shot. That's exactly where they wanted it. Top 4. And Tracy's team will be going for the double corner guards.
I don't think we've played any corner guards yet. Never mind 2 corner guards.
They tried 1 and it was too straight coming this way
right,
early
cut
in
off
the game.
Draw. That's right.
No.
I think she's going to the other side this time, realizing that that was probably going to be a hard spot to bury on the other side.
Looks like it's sliding nice.
So
Might have been the second end. They came down this way and threw the other, tried to throw the other corner guard and it didn't go far enough out for them.
Yep, a little further, I think. Yep.
So the
Yep.
paths will be probably to the wings will be an educated guess, having not seen a lot of them, but do you like tight here or coming in, Amy?
I'm always of the mind that I like tight better. I don't really want them to hit and roll off of me behind the corner guard, you know, but tight's okay.
I think in particular, and I said it's hard to chase, that's a nice tight guard with that rock being perfectly just biting top 4 is going to be a lot for Fleury to deal with.
I'll always take full 12 over halfway here, though.
Yes, you do not want to drop this high, which there looks like there's potential for. And if you're going to show a corner, you don't want to show the corner on the side with the guard.
Yeah, I think they're looking. That's exactly probably where they wanted to put it.
Yeah, rock placement has been quite good for Team Fujisawa. So
they're going to want to put this corner guard Fleury's team pretty much exactly across from the other yellow rock. They want to avoid double peels on corners as much as possible.
Still needs to curl a little.
yeah, they probably took a little bit too much ice here in this straight spot.
Okay.
I think they've chosen to go a corner on each side, just given the depth of that first corner guard. Had it been tighter or longer, you might have seen them go 2 to the same side. Yeah, what do you do now if we just... She's throwing up another center and just going hard for the steal.
I think she might be.
Right now, Tracy Fleury does not have any path into the house that's really good. It's a nice high guard, and that's going to be...
It's pretty much perfect.
Tracy's got to be thinking through the next few shots here. How's she going to open that up and start to get the rocks in the rings?
Yeah, the thing they really don't want to do here is to double peel their own, which is quite possible as well.
I think they're talking about possibly ticking the deeper center guard and getting a shooter in the house.
Oh, this way.
It's just difficult. I said that they'd have to play that on that straight turn.
They're thinking about it for sure. I think it's one of those moments where I think I'd call Liz down and just get her to take a look at it. just the amount of time they're taking, but I don't know their team super well. So.
I think this double peel is.
What are you playing?
Yeah, okay, well, I'm not wrong. What are you playing? Whenever you have that kind of disconnect of...
I think she lined up for a different turn than she was intending.
Too far.
Yeah, as soon as you take that much time, I always feel like you just want to come down and take a look at it. But I was that kind of player. I often like to come and just kind of have a full understanding of that angle. I think you were kind of Sue.
Yeah, I think it's from our days of skipping in juniors. You're used to kind of seeing things from that
angle. And this is what you did not want. Oh, okay, it's okay. It went through. I thought she was going to nib that yellow corner guard over, but...
So Fujisawa has a decision. She could keep playing that double center, which is not a bad option, or she could start peeling the corners. Looks like she's all in for the steal right now.
I don't mind it, but I'm mindful that all it takes is the right angle, run back, and all of a sudden you can give up 2.
Yeah, or even 3 if you do it early enough.
So I don't know. I think at this point I'd be 50-50 on maybe playing a peel on one of those corners and giving yourself a path. It's at this point of the end when you really see the difference that Kristen's made by putting her 2 guards in position the way that she did, because if they make one of those run backs, Fleury's team will be in all of a sudden quite different shape. But I don't think it's a wrong call for Fujisawa to play that guard.
All it takes is a double peel here, and then you do have those usable corners. So it's really important to make a double peel right here.
And Liz just threw close, so hopefully she's learned from the last one and has a feel for it. No, that's good.
No, you might be regretting not peeling one of those.
On the bonus for Fleury's team, of course, is that she hit and rolled right in front of the other guards, so there's no getting rid of all the guards easily at this point. And given where that red rock went, it's even a little trickier.
I feel as though you're committed now to blocking the middle, but they are looking at...
I think I'd play it out a little longer from a center guard. Looks like Sinclair's team has officially won that game against Gim. They're bringing the rocks down after the 7th end. So Sinclair moves on to the semifinals later today. It's a pretty good shot.
Really great shot. Tracy's Fleury's got to be happy here as well that things are opening up a little bit more for her.
And she definitely has, even that corner guard, it's high, but there's a way to get around there if you happen to have a chance deep in the end. So she's doing, I think this is kind of a smart call actually. She's just playing a straight draw, seeing if Selena can get it behind the guard and pull the other team into the peel. Now they're going to go wide here.
She gets under here even and shows them a corner if she can bait them into the chase, and there's a miss. Three's actually back in play.
Oh, it's really hanging.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the communication though. I mean, it's not that I don't like what they're. It's not what I don't like how they're having to say it's heavy, I guess is what I should say. That's a. I mean, it hung on, so could have been worse, but it's really not super helpful.
I think the peel is probably the right call here. Do you like that?
I think so. wouldn't break my heart to see them come with an outturn tight. Even a halfway guard puts Fleury in a not great situation.
でもいいよ距離感
So this end has definitely been the most discussion that we've seen so far, and rightly so.
If you're
It's
happy
down to game here.
yeah, if you're happy to give them 2 and go into the extra end, then you know you peel it. But if you're thinking, we're actually not sitting bad right now, maybe we could potentially win this game. They're gonna go after that back one. I'm not. I think that's the one shot
this is
I
my
wouldn't
least
play.
favorite. Yeah.
No, they've changed their minds again. It looks like the peel now. There's a lot of laughter.
I just love this team. They're not feeling the pressure, apparently. Ooh, a little straightener here. Oh.
うんで普通にはなりそう
It's okay. Barely.
ちょっとしたかなぐらい
Perfect.
Those are the ones where you suck in your breath.
How does that look?
So this is a good call from Tracy Fleury.
Basically, I think wants to put it kind of back where it was. Oh no,
I
sorry,
think
they're
she's
going
coming around. Yeah.
that is the right call.
Yeah. I don't think there's any need to chase that
No, you're
that
right.
red yet. So that might give them a double to end the game here. So just trying to get another shot.
Trying.
It's looking
Still lots of lines.
Pretty
you might
warm.
have to finish it, Kristen. If you can.
You'd like it, Barry, but you need it in the rings for sure. So
Yep. Okay.
no, I don't know. It's tough because on arena ice you definitely want to go around. Doesn't make a lot of sense to throw a guard, but I would have been tempted.
yeah, it's not wrong
か
either.
なと思っていつでもいいか
But this is giving them the chance if they can get a double.
Yeah, so a bit of a decision. Just how hard do you go for the double,
あ
as opposed to hitting and sitting twos. You definitely don't want to roll out here.
And
But it might also be your best chance.
yeah. As a third, I'd be thinking I don't want to roll just to give them kind of a gimme double either to lay 2. Although even if you do it, you're going to give yourself a chance on your next one. Make it go away. Don't get too
Yes,
caught
most
up.
important. Yeah.
Oh, just missed that.
Right in
Well
between the
thrown.
two. Yeah. So now that we're down to Tracy's rocks, it's a bit of a decision time here.
We need to make sure that if she knows that we're counting, right? Which is hard to do. Well, I mean, she needs to make a perfect nose, and if not, we should have a double. I'm thinking. She needs to take a lot less ice in here.
They really got to get around this guard.
Here's this 14.
Could consider freezing that back one as well if you got a double jam the wins in play, but you also bring into the possibility of them making a double and you lose right here.
Okay, full swap.
So they will have cut the ice a little bit because they'd like to get buried. They don't want to give them that double again.
Yeah, the key thing here is definitely line.
Needs
heavy to me, but you know, we're up here, not down there.
It's starting to make a bit of a move. It might get to a new spot.
Just tracking, eh? Like, weight's not terrible, but
just
I just don't
gets
think
up
we
to
can
the
bury
that
there.
side of that ledge where it doesn't kind of cross over.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think you do consider just the straight instead of going for the double.
yep, just hit and stick, basically.
Yeah. Then they have to make the double and stick around just to go the extra in.
Definitely lining up so far in Fujisawa's favor. She can hit and stick this. She's in really good shape to take a break till the next game. So Muirhead has gotten 1 in 7. It's a tie game. Peterson, Muirhead in 8. Peterson with hammer. Looks like quite a back and forth affair over there.
That's about as good as you could do. I don't know if that double and stick
Really,
around's
really
there.
skinny? What? Oh, like really, really skinny? Okay.
Yeah, they have to give this double a go.
No, I don't. I guess it jumps there. Yeah. Okay, peeled, feather it. Yeah.
So they're saying that they need peel weight here because they're hitting that top one so thin. You need all the weight you can get to kill that one. You're basically just playing a redirect and hoping that the top one does leave the rings.
This is an exceedingly difficult shot. Just the steepness of the angle and the fact that you have to get rid of that top red one. Odds are super low. It's less than 10%. They're not playing it the other way because they don't think that they can play the double the other way, stick and not jam on the back one. So.
This should run very straight, so.
A little back away motion there. And
Whoa! Liz! Yeah! Whoa!
really great shot.
Get out! Go!
Such a good try. Not quite, I don't think. Yeah, that stuck. But what an incredible effort.
Literally just needed to curl a millimeter. Well, thanks for joining us here at the Curler's Corner Autumn Gold Curling Classic. Maybe I'll just list our sponsors one more time here. Curler's Corner, obviously title sponsor. The West End Calgary. Jiffy Lube. Coronado Ventures. Rockwatcher, Olson Curling Supplies, Bonterra Energy, and Enigma Resources.
And we've got last couple rocks here. Peterson, Muirhead, halfway through the 8th end. Peterson with hammer, and there's really not a lot going on in the middle for Eve. There's some corner guards that look like they've kind of been hit and rolled. Nothing in the house halfway through that end. It's going to be difficult if it continues in this form for Eve to really have anything going on there.
Are we done?